Hi everyone. Okay, so this will be the last video for those of you on the data analyst Telegram page. For 2022, this will be the last video, and of course, next quarter, next year, first quarter, we definitely will do some work, especially in complex things and looking at DAX and a whole lot more, complex visualizations in Power BI. But I think a lot of questions have come from many people asking, the easiest way to kind of like create, data tables that represent different types of dates and date structures that you can use to visualize your data in Power BI. And so these short video is to just guide those of you who want to see how you can easily do that in Power BI rather than spend the whole time in Excel trying to create new columns and all kinds of time wasting stuff. Okay, so to do unique and dynamic date tables that you can use for visualization in Power BI, you are going to have to do some writing of code, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky for some of you guys who usually don't like to hear about writing code and things like that. But I promise you, this is very simple, really. It's nothing difficult. You're not going to write in R or Python. We're going to write in M code, the generic Power BI writing language. So to do that, you just go to get data on the home tab and click on blank query. Now when the query editor opens, we're going to use the advanced query editor to write some few arguments that will help us to create specialized date tables that we could use to slice and dice our report in Power BI. Because when you present your visualizations, you want to make sure that, for instance, anybody in projects, HR or finance, you want to be sure that you can look at different types of visuals, different types of data, and how they compare with different time periods. Maybe you want to combine and see what is happening in a certain year, a particular quarter, a particular month, a particular week. Those kinds of things are more complex to do in Excel, but very simple to do in Power BI. So when you come here, you simply open the advanced editor, and of course, most of you, on the Telegram page already have some experience with Power BI, so I don't have to explain what let and in and all these things mean. But obviously, what you need to know is that we're not going to do source. We need to give it a unique name. We want to define our start and end dates for Power BI to be able to run the calculations. So we're going to have a start date, and we need to define the start date. Let's say we are starting on January 1st, 2022. We don't want to run something that goes way back into the 1990s and early 2000s, because maybe you are a project manager or M&E person or HR manager, whatever. You just want to look at data for a specific time period, right? So 2022, we will wrap our brackets around this, and then always follow a comma. Remember that in M code, every formula, every argument is followed by a comma. Then you move to the next outcome. But in this case, we're going to spell out the end date as well. and just open those brackets and have those quotations there. And we're gonna have let's say 31st December 2024. Okay, let's do 24. Sounds good. Cool. So is to now have our date, call out the date, okay, the full set of dates that we want. How are we gonna call that out? We do that by, okay, so I'm gonna call this date list. You can call it whatever you want. And the way to create that list that we want is to use the function list date. So you type list.date, okay, and then open the argument. The argument will always start with the start date. Power BI needs to know the start date. Start okay. And after you have stated the start date, you need to let Power BI know the count. Count simply means how many rows, alright, of date is required in our list. So that will of course be calculated by subtracting the start date from the end date. However, we could easily do that by just, oh come on the same line, we could just do that by typing end date minus start date. But doing that will not work. The problem is the count has to be a number, okay, telling Power BI how many rows or how many rows of dates to create in the list. We are dealing with consecutive dates here. So the way to do that is we need to use another function to call out numbers from those dates, okay. So we will have something like number from, and then open bracket here, and then close this one as well. Then we do the same thing for this one as well. Number from, then we open and close that as well. But of course, remember, just like in Excel, in order not to exclude the start and the end dates, the count of the start and the end dates from the date list, we would have to bring +1. Alright? Yeah. Then the next thing to do is simply to type the duration. You have to call out and define the duration. Duration simply means do we want the table, alright, or the date list to provide the date of each day following the other, or every 2 days following, or every 3 days following. So in this case, we just want consecutive dates each day, alright, not by 2 days or by 3 days. So we're gonna have hash over here and type duration and open it up and just type 1. So 1 tells Power BI that it's just 1 day in between each date. So if we move from January 1, 2022, we're going to go to January 2, 2022, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you just follow this with 3 zeros. Don't worry about those 3 zeros. Just probably if you need to do more complex, demarcations of that will do all those types of things. But for now, we'll leave that. Now we don't need to bring another comma because this will be the end of our argument. The only thing we need to do here, of course, is to change the source, because in always means that when everything is calculated, what should be the output? The output is not source. It needs to look at this and then return the date list. Okay, so we'll just change that to date list. Now once that is done, we'll press done and then see what it tells us. Okay, so great, we have a date format error, which of course is very good to help me explain to you some of the things you need to be conscious of when you try to write dates in Power BI. Now it says data format error, which is saying that Power BI is unable to convert the date to number. Remember, we asked it to do some extraction out of the date, deliberately, so you can learn how to go about dealing with these types of problems. Remember when we're defining the dates, we wrote the date, okay, just as a text string, okay, we just put it in quotation marks. So it's just text, it's not written as clear as date. The way to define this as date is that we need to ask Power BI to extract the date out from the text string that we've typed in there. So you need to do this, type date, then you write date dot from. Okay, that's a function they use. Then over here as well, date dot from. Okay, so once that is done, that problem should be resolved. Okay, the second data format error that we have is that Power BI is unable to pass the input provided as a date value. Why is it so? Now, the reason for this is that we have written our date in the UK format. Remember, this is 31st, alright? So that is day, month, and year. However, let me just close this. Yeah. When you go to File, the way to resolve this is what I'm showing you now. You go to Options and Settings, you go to Options, and when this opens, you need to go to Current File, the file you're working on, and click on the Regional Settings. That will show you in what country format or locale that Power BI is interpreting your dates. Okay, at this particular time, it's interpreting in United States because I've done some work that I needed to use United States date formatting. But if you face that challenge, all right, maybe you have a data that is provided to you and you usually want to process in the UK format of dates, that is the day, the month, and the year, you can simply change this to English, United Kingdom. Okay, and then that is resolved. All right. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as it is. If you click on Go to Error, it can give you more information on the specific date it's talking about, and in this case, it is what 31st December 2024. That's where the problem is. So in the American date system, the month comes before the day. So we're just going to change that, and this time when we do it, we have our list of consecutive dates from January 1, 2022 all the way till the end. Every single day is provided. We obviously can scroll through all this, but everything is there. But one thing you need to know also is that Power BI kind of distinguishes a list from a table, and we are trying to create a table, right, that we can use in our report to do all kinds of visualizations and analysis. Okay, so what we need to do is to click on this list over here and go to what? Convert to table. So you click on to table, and then Power BI now recognizes this as a table. Now this dialog box that pops up is so because Power BI recognizes that there are some delimiters. The slashes you see in the data are delimiters, just like comma and full stop in the others. So it wants to know whether we want to create a table from the list of values and separate the numbers by using delimiters, kind of like transfer the other numbers into other columns. That's not what we want to do, so we'll just leave it as none, and then how to handle extra columns just show us errors there. So we'll just click on OK, and our table has been created. We're going to call this our date list. We just call this date list or full date list. Yeah, that will be more catchy. Yeah, and then the other thing to do is simply change the file format. Okay, currently it's in what? Alphanumeric, so we just change this by clicking on this and change it to what date. Great, so once this is done, we are able to create other columns very simply without having to type in additional code. We just now have to go to add column, then we click on dates. We need to extract, let's say, the year from the date. We can have another column for that, and Power BI just automatically recognize what we're trying to do. We can also create, let's say, the month. There are so many things you can do here. You want to create a quarter. You want to create, just leave it there. Okay, so we have all of this, and Power BI just automatically does all of this for us. The other thing is, of course, in our analysis and visualizations that we're going to create in Power BI, we probably want to look at combination of certain months and weeks, or certain years and weeks. Okay, we want to be able to slice and dice the data based on someone should be able to select, let's say, 2023, and want to just look at the data that is available in week 25, week 32, all right, in 2023 specifically. Somebody just wants to focus on quarter 3 in 2024, but someone wants to go deeper and look at week 27 in quarter 3 in 2024 and things like that. So the way to do that is you can create specialized columns, all right, and you're going to do that. Let me just show you how to go about that. You just click on what custom column. Okay, the way to do that is to click on custom column. Now when we come here, let's say we want to create a column that we want to use in our visualization later on, and that is to focus on the year and month. Okay, so I'm going to just call it YM. Okay, how are we going to do that? The way to do that is to you come over here on the right hand side, the available columns. We've already created this column, all right, so they are available here. We want to have the year over there. Double click on that, and then we want to join it with what? Month. So then in our analysis we will find a specific column that just combines year and month, okay, and we can use it to do filtering, slicing in our visualization. Now once you do this and you click on OK, it will give you this, alright, and then some error message. I will explain why you have that problem. When you click on the error, it says that we cannot apply operator and to types number and number. You understand? So that is a very important thing to know. Currently, the year and the week, the year and the month, in fact all of the others are numeric numbers, okay, they are numeric values. You know, if you look at the formats over here, 1, 2, 3, they're all numeric. And when you use what do you call? When you use the ampersand, the end, to join, usually use it to join strings values, okay, like text values. But in this case, these are numbers, and you can join numbers. If it's numbers, you need to do operations like plus or minus or division or whatever. So the way to go about this is that we need to tell Power BI to extract text from the year. Okay. So like we did the previous time, we're just going to say text from, then we wrap it again over here, and again text from. Remember, all the words always begin with capital letters. Okay, and then wrap that as well. See. So that immediately gives us 2021 1. Okay, no, 2022 1. That means 2022 month 1, 2022 month 2, 2022 month 3, and so on and so forth. But I mean, the way it's written, it's a bit funny. So to make it more relevant for people to easily mention, we might as well just add a month or M over there to make everybody know we're dealing with month 1, 2, or whatever. So the way to do that is to just add some text string over there, and then another joiner, and then click OK. So now we have what 2022 month 1, 2022 month 2, month 3, and so on and so forth. And you can actually use this column to do some real cool stuff in your report, in the visualization part of your report. Great. So let's just try one more time. Let's say let's just try. We're going to add another custom column. Okay, great. Just add another custom column. This time, let's call this one, let's say year and week. Okay. So why W? You can give it any cool name you find, but for now, for just to show you how to do it. So over here again, this time, remember what I taught you. You need to call the text out of those numeric column names. So we do text from, and here we have what year. Remember, columns are always held in square brackets. So you have the year over here. No, that's a curly bracket. Yeah. All right. Wrap it around it. Then we're gonna do and add, let's say, W, just to show the week. Okay. And then another and this time we have what text from. Again, we have what week over here. Great. Week of the year. Great. Here we go. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Simple. You don't have to go write all kinds of complex things in Excel. This is just beautiful. And you can do this right from the Power Query editor. And once you are done, all you need to do is go back to Home and close and apply. And you have a table that has been created for you that you can use, so I'm going to call this a date slicer table. So just to help you to slice different dates. That's what we call that table. So when we click and apply, great. Just a second. This should load. It should load. We should have it in the fields pane, coming as a table. Yeah, right. Still loading. 1096 rows. We have 1096 rows of dates. It's wonderful. Great. So here it is in the fields pane. We have the date slicer table that we can use to do all kinds of things in our report view, create all sorts of things. So obviously, you'd have to go to relationships in the modeling area and connect that date table to all the other relevant data tables that you have, so that you can pick up all the connections and the slicing that you wish to do. All right, so I hope this has helped most of you in the group. Yeah, so next year, first quarter, hopefully, I don't know, I think probably in February or toward the end of January, we'll be having a bootcamp, just an online session, but that'll require some registration. It will not be expensive. So I just want to dive in on some more information in DAX, DAX calculations. We want to look at calculated columns in more detail and a few more complex, visuals in Power BI. There are some more complex things that you can actually do using, like the ArcGIS map visual, which is of course more potent than the usual map visual. This map visual is so basic. Other complex things that you can do with this one, and several other complex things that I would like to show you. So I'll see you next year. I hope everyone takes care, and all the very best. So actually on Slack, I saw a couple of comments that I thought kind of like were a bit funny. Um, I think some people were asking if we could just have an information sharing session where all the experts probably come and share some free information. I think it's always best if we have specific things that we want people to clarify. Okay, you're having specific challenges with specific types of data analysis and things like that. Okay, maybe you are finance and you want to look at specifically how to maybe do the income statement and actually set up, the gross margins, and operating income, and EBIT and EBITDA and all of those things. So it's best, and then people can actually use the expertise and whatever background they have to help you in dealing with that. Maybe monitoring evaluation, maybe you want to go in indicator tables and things like that. Yeah. So let's see how things go. I'll send more information either on the Telegram page or on Slack, whatever. Yeah, but just look out for it. And yeah, I hope this helps. Okay, so I'll be looking forward to your comments and any feedback. Okay. All the best. Happy New Year.